Hello, everyone, and welcome in. I hope you're all doing well here this time zone. Hello, Klaus. Been quite a while since we've last seen you. Glad you've decided to join us here tonight. Toby, hello, little sib. Welcome in. Thank you for joining. You're tired, so you'll be sleeping soon. Totally understandable. And bonjour. Hi. Hope you're gonna have a good tired rather than a bad tired. So I am trying tonight here with some slightly different filters. Oh shoot, I meant to turn that off. Oh boy. All right. I will honor it. I will honor it. But thank you for reminding me in your own special way that I need to go make sure that is not on. That was supposed to be a Canada Day celebration and nobody redeemed it. So, let's just make sure. Oh, where is the button for this? All right. Here they are. Turn those off. All right. So, uh oh dear, and I forgot to switch over here. All right. So, here we go. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Quand on beau se porter l'épée, on se porter le roi. Ton histoire est une épopée que plus brillant exploit. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. All right, there you go. That's redeemed. Sorry about that. But yeah, no, that was not supposed to be there. So there we go. My VTuber reminds Alex of Kingdom Hearts. Really? First of all, welcome in, Alex. But second, interesting. I didn't realize that there were Kingdom Hearts inspirations for it, but it doesn't entirely surprise me. This outfit was originally designed with some help from Road to Dusk, who is a huge fan of the series. So yeah, just gotta get ready for the hockey game. Wait, is there a hockey game tonight? I was not aware. Toby, are you teasing me? Oh my goodness. Oh, for goodness sake. Well, regardless, we've done the singing bit here. You mean, what is it you mean, Alex? Go on, finish your thought. I'm not going to judge you for it out loud, necessarily. Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh, I see. Wow. No, that's fine. That's fine. Hey, I'm not going to judge anybody for their home team or the team that they root for. Apparently Toby doesn't share my sentiment on this, but all right, all right. But no, so oh my goodness, it's hard to believe it's been at least 2 weeks at this point, and you know, I'm quite glad to get back into this. Listen, you don't watch hockey, you just like the Pittsburgh Penguins because of penguins. That is a valid reason. That is as valid of a reason to follow any team for anything, that you just like their mascot. I don't understand sports much myself, but yeah, no, totally. Such fun, such fun. Okay, so last time. Oh, hello, Klaus. Yes, welcome in. Alex prefers the Penguins, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Denver Broncos. Is that all because of the animal preferences then? I don't know much about sports, American or otherwise, but, long time no see. Yes, indeed, dearie. Yes, indeed. The mascot and the color schemes. Okay. Do you have any other favorite sports teams, though? I mean, no reason to restrict this to just what the Americans do. But yeah, so last time with our story, Anne of Green Gables, we had just been, dearie? Yes, I call quite a few people dearie, but I'm going to assume that that's a happy emote and we're going to roll with it. So last time we got to see that yes, indeed, Anne would be staying at Green Gables, thus making the title of the book a little less ironic. And oh, you teased your sis enough. Okay, Toby, get some good sleep. Thank you very much for joining us. It's always lovely to see you, dearie. Alright, so Anne will indeed be staying at Green Gables, and it is up to Marilla to sort of see to the day-to-day, while Matthew is, of course, out in the field. So this was quite the shock to Mrs. Rachel Lynde, who believed that Anne was to be a boy. And so, after quite a bit of harsh words, Anne decided to return the sentiments, and this got her into a bit of trouble. No password for today? Well, I suppose that's at your discretion. I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. Passwords are something people drop because they choose to. But we are going to roll back into the story to find out how Anne deals with being reprimanded and how Marilla deals with her punishment, being declaring that Anne must apologize. Chapter 10. Anne's Apology. Marilla said nothing to Matthew about the affair that evening, but when Anne proved still refractory the next morning, an explanation had to be made to account for her absence from the breakfast table. Marilla told Matthew the whole story, taking pains to impress him with a due sense of the enormity of Anne's behavior.
It is a good thing Rachel Lynde got a calling down. She's a meddlesome old gossip,
was Matthew's consolatory rejoinder.
And Matthew Cuthbert, I'm astonished at you. You know that Anne's behavior was dreadful, and yet you take her part. I suppose next you'll be saying that she oughtn't to be punished at all.
Well now, no, not exactly,
said Matthew uneasily.
I reckon she ought to be punished a little, but don't be too hard on her, Maria. Recollect she hasn't ever had anyone to teach her right. You're going to give her something to eat, aren't you?
When did you ever hear of me starving people into good behavior? Demanded Maria indignantly. She'll have her meals regular, and I'll carry them up to her myself, but she'll stay up there until she's willing to apologize to Mrs. Lynde, and that's final, Matthew.
You've missed me recently? Well, I'm glad that you've decided to come and join us here tonight. It's always lovely to have company, and this is such a fun story. Breakfast, dinner, and supper were very silent meals, for Anne still remained obdurate. After each meal, Maria carried a well-filled tray to the east gable and brought it down later, not noticeably depleted. Matthew eyed his last descent with a troubled eye. Had Anne eaten anything at all? When Maria went out that evening to bring the cows from the back pasture, Matthew, who had been hanging about the barns and watching, slipped into the house with the air of a burglar and crept upstairs. As a general thing, Matthew gravitated between the kitchen and the little bedroom off the hall where he slept. Once in a while he ventured uncomfortably into the parlor or sitting room when the minister came to tea. But he had never been upstairs in his own house since the spring he helped Maria paper the spare bedroom, and that was 4 years ago.
It's 4 a.m. though? Well, if you need to get some rest, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're up a little bit early, then I hope that you get to enjoy your time here all the same, and that it prepares you well for our coming day. Matthew Cuthbert tiptoed along the hall and stood for several minutes outside the door of the east gable before he summoned the courage to tap on it with his fingers, and then open the door to peep in. You've got work in the morning? Oh my goodness. Klaus, get some good rest. We can certainly talk more and catch up another time. Anne was sitting on the yellow chair by the window, gazing mournfully out into the garden. Very small and unhappy she looked, and Matthew's heart smote him. He softly closed the door and tiptoed over to her.
Anne,
He whispered, as if afraid of being overheard.
how are you making it, Anne?
Anne smiled wanly.
Pretty well. I imagine a good deal, and that helps to pass the time. Of course, it's rather lonesome, but then I may as well get used to that.
But Celine, what? Anne smiled again, bravely facing the long years of solitary imprisonment before her. Matthew recollected that he must say what he had come to say without loss of time, lest Marilla return prematurely.
Well now, Anne, don't you think you'd better do it and have it over with?
He whispered.
It'll have to be done sooner or later, you know, for Maria's a dreadful determined woman. Dreadful determined, Anne. Do it right off, I say, and have it over.
Do you mean apologize to Mrs. Lynde?
Yes, apologize. That's the very word.
Said Matthew eagerly.
Just smooth it over, so to speak. That's what I was trying to get at.
I say what like that?
I suppose I could do it to oblige you.
Said Anne thoughtfully.
It would be true enough to say I am sorry, because I am sorry now.
I wasn't a bit sorry last night. I was mad clear through, and I stayed mad all night. I know I did, because I woke up 3 times, and I was just furious every time. But this morning it was all over. I wasn't in a temper anymore, and it left a dreadful sort of goneness, too. I felt so ashamed of myself, but I just couldn't think of going and telling Mrs. Lynde so. It would be so humiliating. I made up my mind to stay shut up here forever rather than do that. But still, I'd do anything for you if you really want me to. Lady Travers, welcome in. I hope you enjoy your time with us here. Thank you very much for the follow.
Well now, of course I do. It's terrible lonesome downstairs without you. Just go and smooth it over. That's a good girl.
Very well.
Said Anne resignedly.
I'll tell Maria as soon as she comes in that I've repented.
That's right, Anne. But don't tell Maria I said anything about it. She might think I was putting my oar in, and I promised not to do that.
Wild horses won't drag the secret from me,
Anne promised solemnly.
How would wild horses drag a secret from a person anyhow?
But Matthew was gone, scared at his own success. He fled hastily to the remotest corner of the horse pasture, lest Maria should suspect what he had been up to. Maria herself, upon her return to the house, was agreeably surprised to hear a plaintive voice calling, "Maria!" over the banisters.
Well,
she said, going into the hall.
I'm sorry I lost my temper and said rude things, and I'm willing to go and tell Mrs. Lynde so.
Very well. Maria's crispness gave no sign of her relief. She had been wondering what under the canopy she should do if Anne did not give in. I'll take you down after milking. Accordingly, after milking, behold, Maria and Anne came walking down the lane, the former erect and triumphant, the latter drooping and dejected. But halfway down, Anne's dejection vanished as if by enchantment.
She lifted her head and stepped lightly along, her eyes fixed on the sunset sky, and an air of subdued exhilaration about her. Maria beheld the change disapprovingly. This was no meek penitence such as it behooved her to take into the presence of the offended Mrs. Lynde. "Hello, Cecile. Wonderful of you to join us. Let's get you a shout-out here. If you're not already familiar with Cecile, they are the leader of the Reading Renegades, a group that does readings of different stories. We've been reading the Odyssey periodically when we can get all of our members together. Definitely go check them out. They are a generally very jovial person, somebody who I strongly recommend spending a little time with if you get the chance. What are you thinking of, Anne? Maria snapped sharply.
I'm imagining out what I must say to Mrs. Lynde,
answered Anne dreamily. Well, this was satisfactory, or should have been so. But Maria could not rid herself of the notion that something in her scheme of punishment was going to go askew. Oh, Klaus, thank you for the hydrate. Hydration completes. I know how to promote. Well, thank you, Cecile. I'll take that as a very high compliment. Anne had no business to look so rapt and radiant. Rapt and radiant Anne continued until they were in the very presence of Mrs. Lynde, who was sitting knitting by her kitchen window. Then the radiance vanished. Mournful penitence appeared on every feature. Before a word was spoken, Anne suddenly went down on her knees before the astonished Mrs. Rachel and held out her hands beseechingly.
Oh, Mrs. Lynde, I am so extremely sorry,
she said with a quiver in her voice.
I can never express all my sorrow. No, not if I used up a whole dictionary. You must imagine it. I behaved terribly to you. And I've disgraced the dear friends Matthew and Maria who let me stay at Green Gables, although I'm not a boy. I'm a dreadfully wicked and ungrateful girl, and I deserve to be punished and cast out by respectable people forever. It was very wicked of me to fly into a temper because you told me the truth. It was the truth. Every word you said was true. My hair is red, and I'm freckled and skinny and ugly. What I said to you was true too, but I shouldn't have said it. Oh, Mrs. Lynde, please. Please forgive me. If you refuse, it will be a lifelong sorrow to me. You wouldn't like to inflict a lifelong sorrow on a poor orphan girl, would you? Even if she had a dreadful temper? Oh, I am sure you wouldn't. Please say you forgive me, Mrs. Lynde.
And clasped her hands together, bowed her head, and waited for the word of judgment. Maria is pronounced Maria? Yes. The L in French is a y sound when it's doubled up like that. Not always, but in this particular case, that's the pronunciation that I'm going with. So yeah. There was no mistaking her sincerity. It breathed in every tone of her voice. Both Maria and Mrs. Lynde recognized its unmistakable ring. But the former understood, in dismay, that Anne was actually enjoying her valley of humiliation, was reveling in the thoroughness of her abasement. Where was the wholesome punishment upon which she, Maria, had plumed herself? Anne had turned it into a species of positive pleasure. They're supposed to be French? You didn't know when reading this? I'm assuming based upon, just the general structure of the name, but these are Canadian characters. This is a part of Canada. So, if this is offensive to you, I suppose I could pronounce it as Marilla or some other way. Is there a particular way that you've read that it is supposed to be pronounced? You're not offended. Okay. Good Mrs. Lynde, not being overburdened with perception, did not see this. She only perceived that Anne had made a very thorough apology, and all resentment vanished from her kindly, if somewhat officious, heart. You're just intrigued? I see.
There, get up, child, she said heartily. Of course I forgive you. I guess I was a little too hard on you anyway. But I'm such an outspoken person, you just mustn't mind me, that's what. It can't be denied your hair is terrible red. But I knew a girl once, went to school with her, in fact, whose hair was every nut as red as yours when she was young. But when she grew up, it darkened to a real handsome auburn. I wouldn't be a mite surprised if yours did, too. Not a mite.
Oh, Mrs. Lynde,
Anne drew a long breath as she rose to her feet.
you have given me a hope. I shall always feel that you are a benefactor. Oh, I could endure anything if I only thought that my hair would be a handsome auburn when I grew up. It would be so much easier to be good if one's hair was a handsome auburn, don't you think? And now I may go out into your garden and sit on the bench under the apple trees while you and Marilla are talking. There's so much more scope for imagination out there.
Moss, yes, run along, child. And you can pick a bouquet of them white June lilies over in the corner if you like.
It doesn't help that Takahata anime pronounces English like. Then again, Simon is pronounced Simon and Gurren Lagann tomato tomato? Tomato tomato? Tomato? Well, regardless. As the door closed behind Anne, Mrs. Lynde got up briskly and lit a lamp.
She's a real odd thing. Take this chair, Maria. It's easier than the one you've got. I just keep that for the hired boy to sit on. Yes, she certainly is an odd child, but there is something kind of taking about her after all. I don't feel so surprised at you and Matthew keeping her as I did, nor sorry for you either. She may turn out all right. Of course, she has a queer way of expressing herself, a little too, well, too kind of forcible, you know. But she'll likely get over that now that she's come to live among civilized folks. And then her temper's pretty quick, I guess. But there's one comfort for a child that has a quick temper. Just blaze up and cool down. Ain't never likely to be sly or deceitful. Preserve me from a sly child, that's what. On the whole, Maria, I kind of like her.
When Maria went home, Anne came out of the fragrant twilight of the orchard with a half-sheet of white narcissi in her hands.
I apologized pretty well, didn't I?
She said proudly as they went down the lane.
I thought since I had to do it, I might as well do it thoroughly.
You did it thoroughly all right, well enough, was Maria's comment. Maria was dismayed at finding herself inclined to laugh over the recollection. She had also an uneasy feeling she ought to scold Anne for apologizing so well, but then that was ridiculous. She compromised with her conscience by saying severely, I hope you won't have occasion to make many more such apologies. I hope you'll try to control your temper now, Anne.
That wouldn't be so hard if people wouldn't twit me about my looks, said Anne with a sigh. I don't get so cross about other things, but I'm so tired of being twitted about my hair, and it just makes me boil right over. Do you suppose my hair will really be a handsome auburn when I grow up?
You shouldn't think so much about your looks, Anne. I'm afraid you are a very vain little girl.
How can I be vain when I know I'm homely? I love pretty things. I hate to look in the glass and see something that isn't pretty. It makes me feel so sorrowful, just as what I feel when I look at an ugly thing. I pity it because it isn't beautiful.
Handsome is as handsome does.
I've had that said to me before, but I have my doubts about it, remarked skeptical Anne, sniffing at her narcissi. Oh, weren't these flowers sweet? It was lovely of Mrs. Lynde to give them to me. I have no hard feelings toward Mrs. Lynde now. If it gives you a lovely, comfortable feeling to apologize and be forgiven, doesn't it? Aren't the stars bright tonight? If you could live in a star, which one would you pick? I'd like that lovely, clear, big one away over there beyond the dark hill.
Anne, do hold your tongue, said Maria, thoroughly worn out trying to follow the gyrations of Anne's thoughts. Your hair is awesome, Anne. Aw. That's very kind of you, Cecile, although I'm quite sure that Anne would tell you,
What? No, it isn't nice at all. It's nice of you to say so, but the hair itself is hardly anything to be proud of. It's red.
so there's that. Anne said no more until they turned into their own lane. A little gypsy wind came down to meet them, laden with the spicy perfume of young dew-wet ferns. Far up in the shadows, a cheerful light gleamed out through the trees from the kitchen at the Green Gables. Anne suddenly came close to Maria and slipped her hand into the older woman's palm.
It's lovely to be going home and know it's home, Anne said. I love Green Gables already, and I've never loved any place before. No place ever seemed like home. Oh, Maria, I'm so happy I could pray right now and not find it a bit hard.
Something warm and pleasant welled up in Maria's heart at touch of that thin little hand in her own, a throb of the maternity she had missed, perhaps. Its very unaccustomedness and sweetness disturbed her. She hastened to restore her sensations to their normal calm by inculcating a moral. If you'll be a good girl, and you'll always be happy, Anne, and you should never find it hard to say your prayers.
Saying one's prayers isn't exactly the same thing as praying, said Anne meditatively. But I'm going to imagine that I'm the wind that is blowing up there in those treetops. When I get tired of the trees, I'll imagine I'm gently waving down here in the ferns, and then I'll fly over to Mrs. Lynde's garden and set the flowers dancing, and then I'll go with one great swoop over the clover field, and then I'll blow over the lake of shining waters and ripple it all up into sparkling little waves. Oh, there's so much scope for imagination in a wind, so I'll not talk any more just now, Maria.
Thanks be to goodness for that, breathed Maria in devout relief. Oh, dear. Well, I'm not sure what I expected for an apology. That was not it, but it was fantastic nonetheless. Chapter 11. Anne's Impressions of Sunday School. Well, how do you like them? Said Maria. Anne was standing in the gable room, looking solemnly at the new... Excuse me. They're all more or less good ones, but Chapter 11 is a good one too. Good to know, Cecile. Anne was standing in the gable room, looking solemnly at the 3 new dresses spread out on the bed. One was snuffy-colored gingham, which Maria had been tempted to buy from a peddler the preceding summer, because it looked so serviceable. One was of black and white check sateen, which she had picked up at a bargain counter in the winter, and one was a stiff print of an ugly blue shade, which she had purchased that week at the Carmody store. She had made them up herself, and they were all made alike. Plain skirts, fulled tightly to plain waists, with sleeves as plain as waist and skirt and tight as sleeves could be.
I imagine that I'll like them, said Anne soberly.
I don't want you to imagine it, said Maria, offended. Oh, I can see you don't like the dresses. What is the matter with them? Aren't they neat and clean and new?
Yes.
Then why don't you like them?
They're not pretty,
said Anne reluctantly. Pretty? I didn't trouble my head about getting pretty dresses for you. I don't believe in pampering vanity, Anne. I'll tell you that right off. Those dresses are good, sensible, serviceable dresses without any frills or furbelows about them, and they're all you'll get this summer. The brown gingham and blue print will do you for school when you begin to go. The sateen is for church and Sunday school. I'll expect you to keep them neat and clean and not tear them. I should think you'll be grateful to get most anything after those skimpy, wincey things you've been wearing.
Oh, but I am grateful, protested Anne. But I'd be ever so much gratefuler if you'd only made just one of them with puffed sleeves. Puffed sleeves are so fashionable now. It would give me such a thrill, Maria, to just wear a dress with puffed sleeves.
Well, you'll have to do without your thrill. I haven't had any material to waste on puffed sleeves. I think they are ridiculous-looking things anyhow. I prefer the plain, sensible ones. But I'd rather look ridiculous when everyone else does than plain and sensible all by myself, persisted Anne mournfully. Trust you for that. Well, hang those dresses carefully up in your closet and then sit down and learn the Sunday school lesson. I got a quarterly from Mr. Bell for you tomorrow, and you'll go to Sunday school tomorrow, said Maria, disappearing downstairs in a high dudgeon. Anne clasped her hands and looked at the dresses. I did hope there would be a white one with puffed sleeves, she whispered disconsolately. I prayed for one, but I didn't much expect it on that account. I didn't suppose God would have time to bother about a little orphan girl's dress. I knew I'd just have to depend on Maria for it. While unfortunately I can imagine that one of them is of snow-white muslin with lovely face frills and 3 puffed sleeves. The next morning, warnings of a sick headache prevented Maria from going to Sunday school with Anne.
You'll have to call down and call for Mrs. Lynde, Anne. She'll see that you get right into the right class. Now mind you behave yourself properly. Stay to preaching afterwards, and ask Mrs. Lynde to show you our pew. Here's a cent for collection. Don't stare at people and don't fidget. I shall expect you to come tell me the text when you arrive home.
Anne stared off irreproachably, arrayed in the stiff black and white sateen, which, while decent as regards length and certainly not open to the charge of skimpiness, contrived to emphasize every corner and angle of her thin figure. Her hat was a little, flat, glossy new sailor, the extreme plainness of which had likewise disappointed Anne, who had permitted herself secret visions of ribbons and flowers. The latter, however, were supplied before Anne reached the main road, for, being confronted halfway down the lane with a golden frenzy of wind-stirred buttercups and a glory of wild roses, Anne promptly and liberally garlanded her hat with a heavy wreath of them. Whatever other people might have thought of the result, it satisfied Anne, and she tripped gaily down the road, holding her ruddy head with its decoration of pink and yellow very proudly. When she reached Mrs. Lynde's house, she found that the lady was gone. Nothing daunted, Anne proceeded to onward to the church alone. In the porch she found a crowd of little girls, all more or less gaily attired, in whites and blues and pinks, and all staring with curious eyes at this stranger in their midst, with her extraordinary head adornment. Avonlea little girls had already heard queer stories about Anne. Mrs. Lynde said she had an awful temper. Jerry Buote, the hired boy at Green Gables, said she talked all the time to herself, or the trees and flowers, like a crazy girl. They looked at her and whispered to each other behind their quarterlies. Nobody made any friendly advances, then or later on, when the opening exercises were over, and Anne found herself in Mrs. Rogerson's class. Miss Rogerson was a middle-aged lady who had taught Sunday school class for 20 years. Her method of teaching was to ask the printed questions from the quarterly and look sternly over its edge at the particular little girl she thought ought to answer the question. She looked very often at Anne, and Anne, thanks to Maria's drilling, answered promptly, but it may be questioned if she understood very much about either question or answer. She did not think she liked Miss Rogerson, and she felt very miserable. Every other little girl in the class had puffed sleeves. Anne felt that life was really not worth living without puffed sleeves. "Well, how did you like Sunday school?" Maria wanted to know when Anne came home. Her wreath having faded, Anne had discarded it in the lane, so Maria was spared the knowledge of that for a time. "I didn't like it a bit. It was horrid. Anne Shirley," said Maria rebukingly. Anne sat down on the rocker with a long sigh, kissed one of Bonnie's leaves, and waved her hand to a blossoming fuchsia. "I might have been lonesome while I was away, and now about the Sunday school. I behaved well, just as you told me. Mrs. Lynde was gone, but I went right on myself. I went into the church with a lot of other girls, and I sat in the corner of a pew by the window while the opening exercises went on. Mr. Bell made an awfully long prayer. I would have been dreadfully tired before he got through it if I hadn't been sitting by that window, but it looked right out on the lake of shining waters, so I just gazed at that and imagined all sorts of splendid things." "You shouldn't have done anything of the sort. You should have listened to Mr. Bell." "But he wasn't talking to me. He was talking to God, and he didn't seem very much interested in it either. I think he thought God was too far off to make it worthwhile. I said a little prayer myself, though. There was a long row of white birches hanging over the lake, and the sunshine fell down through them way, way down deep into the water. Oh, Marie, it was like a beautiful dream. It gave me a thrill, and I just said, 'Thank you for it, God,' 2 or 3 times.
Not out loud, I hope."
"Oh, no, just under my breath. Well, Mr. Bell did get through at last, and they told me to go into the classroom with Mrs. Rogerson's class. There were 9 other girls in it. They all had puff sleeves. I tried to imagine mine were puffed too, but I couldn't. Why couldn't I? It was as easy as could be to imagine they were puffed when I was alone in the East Gable, but it was awfully hard there among the others who had really truly puffs."
"You shouldn't have been thinking about your sleeves in Sunday school. You should have been attending to the lesson. I hope you knew it."
"Oh, yes, and I answered a lot of questions. Miss Rogerson asked ever so many. I don't think it was fair of her to do all the asking. There were lots I wanted to ask her, but I didn't like to because I didn't think she was the kindred spirit. And then all the other little girls recited a paraphrase. She asked me if I knew any. I told her I didn't, but I could recite The Dog in His Master's Grave if she liked. And that's in the Third Royal Reader. It isn't really truly a religious piece of poetry, but it's so sad and melancholy that it might as well be. She said it wouldn't do, and she told me to learn the 19th paraphrase for next Sunday. I read it over in church afterwards, and it's splendid. There are 2 lines in particular that just thrill me. "Quick as the slaughtered squadrons fell in Midian's evil day." I don't know what squadrons means, nor Midian either, but it sounds so tragical. I can hardly wait until next Sunday to recite it. I'll practice it all week. After Sunday school, I asked Miss Rogerson, because Mrs. Lynde was too far away, to show me to your pew. I sat just as still as I could, and the text was Revelations, 3rd chapter, 2nd and 3rd verses. It was a very long text. If I was a minister, I'd pick the short, snappy ones. The sermon was awfully long, too. I suppose the minister had to match it to the text. I didn't think he was a bit interesting. The trouble with him seems to be that he hasn't enough imagination. I didn't listen to him very much. I just let my thoughts run, and I thought most surprising things."
Maria felt helplessly that all this should be sternly reproved, but she was hampered by the undeniable fact that some of the things Anne had said, especially about the minister's sermons and Mr. Bell's prayers, were what she herself had really thought deep down in her heart for years, but had never given expression to. It almost seemed to her that those secret, unuttered, critical thoughts had suddenly taken visible and accusing shape and form in the person of this outspoken morsel of neglected humanity. Oh my goodness. Don't you just love it when somebody is like absolutely roasting a person and it's like, I shouldn't approve of this, but they're not wrong. So good. Yes, absolutely, Satil. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Well, I have just about run out of water, and we're on to chapter 12. I'm going to take just a moment to go refresh my supply, and I will be right back. Get dunked on Sunday school? It's not the Sunday school that she's dunking on, it's the people. Oh, fine. With your hydrate redeem, I'll just go do the thing. Thank you, Satil. I will be right back.
Alright, thank you all for your patience with me. Cecile, yes, hydration completes. I appreciate the enthusiasm there. But yeah, no, we're in good shape. And oh right, I should remove the BRB here. There we go. Big patience. Wonderful. Well, I always appreciate the heckin' patience. You guys are just great. Thank you for sticking with me here. And with that, we come to chapter 12. Oh, hello, Tree Blood. Welcome in. Please refer to you as a patient parson from now on. Are you a parson? I didn't realize you were a parson. You're certainly a person, but, well, all the same, I'll do my best to remember that, patient parson. And yes, Tree Blood, hello. There's no Satil, there's only patient parson. Well, alright then. Yes, okay, cool. Let's get Tree Blood shouted out here. If I can remember my own commands. And for those not already familiar with Tree Blood, he primarily does horror games, but is just a generally fantastic person. I always enjoy spending time with him, and every once in a while, I'm even lucky enough to get to stream with him. But go check him out, spend some time with him. This boy is amazing, and my life is dramatically better for him being in it. Hey love, good to see you. So yes, we are moving into chapter 12. Oh, it has to be, quote, patient parson, quote. Alright, well, I shall do my best to remember that, quote, patient parson, quote. Chapter 12. A Solemn Vow and Promise. It was not until the next Friday that Maria heard the story of the flower-wreathed hat. She came home from Mrs. Lynde's and called Anne to account. Anne, Mrs. Rachel says that you went to church last Sunday with your hat rigged out ridiculous with roses and buttercups. What on earth put you up to such a caper? A pretty-looking object you must have been.
Oh, I know pink and yellow aren't becoming to me.
Becoming? Fiddlesticks! It was putting flowers on your hat at all, no matter what color they were, that was ridiculous. You are the most aggravating child.
I don't see why it's any more ridiculous to wear flowers on your hat than on your dress. Lots of little girls there had bouquets pinned on their dresses. What's the difference?
Maria was not to be drawn from the safe concrete into dubious paths of the abstract.
Don't answer back to me like that, Anne.
It was very silly of you to do such a thing. Never let me catch you at such a trick again. Mrs. Rachel says she thought she would sink through the floor when she saw you come in all rigged out like that. She couldn't get near enough to tell you to take them off till it was too late. She says people talked about it, something dreadful. Of course they would think I had no better sense than to let you go decked out like that.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
said Anne, tears welling up into her eyes.
I never thought you'd mind. Those roses and buttercups were so sweet and pretty, and I thought they'd look lovely on my hat. Lots of the little girls had artificial flowers on their hats. I'm afraid I'm going to be a dreadful trial to you. Maybe you'd better send me back to the asylum. That would be terrible. I don't think I could endure it. Most likely I would go into consumption. I'm so thin as is, you see. But that would be better than being a trial to you.
Nonsense, said Maria, vexed at herself for having made the child cry. I don't want to send you back to the asylum, I'm sure. All I want is that you should behave like other little girls and not make yourself ridiculous. Don't cry any more. I've got some news for you. Diana Barry came home this afternoon. I'm going up to see if I can borrow a skirt pattern from Mrs. Barry, and if you like, you can come with me and get acquainted with Diana. Anne rose to her feet with clasped hands, the tears still glistening on her cheeks. The dish towel she had been hemming slipped unheeded to the floor.
Oh, Maria, I'm frightened now. Now that it has come, I'm actually frightened. What if she shouldn't like me? It would be the most tragical disappointment of my life.
Now don't get into a fluster. And I would like it if you wouldn't use such long words. It sounds so funny in a little girl. I guess Diana'll like you well enough. It's her mother you've got to reckon with. If she doesn't like you, it won't matter how much Diana does. If she has heard about your outburst to Mrs. Lynde and going to church with buttercups round your hat, I don't know what she'll think of you. You must be polite and well-behaved, and don't make any of your startling speeches for pity's sake if the child isn't actually trembling. Anne was trembling. Her face was pale and tense.
Oh, Maria, you'd be excited too if you were going to meet a little girl you hoped would be your bosom friend and whose mother mightn't like you, she said as she hastened to get her hats. Hello, Necromancer. Bonjour, welcome in. It's lovely to have you here with us. They went over the orchard slope by the shortcut, across the brook, and up the fiery hill grove. Mrs. Barry came to the kitchen door in answer to Maria's knock. She was a tall, black-eyed, black-haired woman with a very resolute mouth. She had the reputation of being very strict with her children. "How do you do, Maria?" she said cordially. "Come in. And this is the little girl you have adopted, I suppose?" "Yes, this is Anne Shirley," said Maria. "Spelled with an E," gasped Anne, who, tremulous and excited as she was determined there should be no misunderstanding on that important point. Mrs. Barry, not hearing or not comprehending, merely shook hands and said kindly, "How are you?" "I am well in body, though considerably rumpled in spirit, thank you, ma'am," Anne said gravely. Then aside to Maria in an audible whisper, "There wasn't anything startling in that, was there, Maria?" "Hello, Necromancer. You're exhausted and work just started, but you're going to kick its butt anyway." "Absolutely. I'll enjoy hearing how well you handled your work later, Necromancer. In fact, let's see if we can get you shouted out. Tree, would you mind shouting out Necromancer for me, please?" If you're not already familiar with Necromancer, very silly chap, but well worth spending some time with. I know that they've been working on some of their characters' story most recently, and I've also gotten the chance to see them collaborating with some people. Just go check them out if you're interested, but it's going to be a wonderful time. Diana was sitting on the sofa, reading a book which she dropped when the callers entered. She was a very pretty little girl, with her mother's black eyes and hair and rosy cheeks, and the merry expression which was her inheritance from her father. "This is my little girl, Diana," Mrs. Barry said. "Diana, you might take Anne out into the garden and show her your flowers. It will be better for you than straining your eyes over that book. She reads entirely too much." This to Maria as the little girls went out. "And I can't prevent her, for her father aids and abets her. She's always poring over a book. I'm glad she has the prospect of a playmate. Perhaps it will take her more out of doors." Outside in the garden, which was full of mellow sunlight streaming through the dark old firs to the west of it, stood Anne and Diana, gazing bashfully at one another over a clump of gorgeous tiger lilies. The Barry garden was a bowery wilderness of flowers which would have delighted Anne's heart at any time less fraught with destiny. It was encircled by huge old willows and tall firs, beneath which flourished flowers that loved the shade. Prim, right-angled paths neatly bordered with clamshells intersected it like moist red ribbons, and in the beds between old-fashioned flowers ran rhymes. There were rosy, bleeding hearts and great, splendid crimson peonies, white, fragrant narcissi and thorny, sweet Scotch roses, pink and blue and white columbines, and lilac-tinted bouncing bets, clumps of southernwood and ribbon grass and mint, purple Adam and Eve daffodils, and masses of sweet clover, white with its delicate, fragrant, feathery sprays, scarlet lightning that shot its fiery lances over prim white musk flowers. A garden it was where sunshine lingered, and bees hummed and winds beguiled into loitering, purred, and rustles. Alright, I hope you have a lovely time on Friday with your writing stream. Maybe I'll get a chance to peek at some of it too. That would be delightful. "Oh, Diana," said Anne at last, clasping her hands and speaking almost in a whisper. Do you think you can be like me a little, enough to be my bosom friend?"
Diana laughed. Diana always laughed before she spoke. "Hello, Nebby. Welcome in." Oh dear, we didn't get our shout out for Necromancer, but we'll have to shout out Nebby next. Let's get the first one for Necromancer. But Nebby, welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Hello. That's a very cozy penumbra you've got there. This episode is so cute in the anime. I bet. What was it? Patient Parson? Patient Parson. I bet. Or quote, Patient Parson quote. There we are. Sorry about that. I will get your name down eventually. Quote, Patient Parson quote.
"Oh, I guess so," she said frankly. "I'm awfully glad you've come to live at Green Gables. It would be jolly to have somebody to play with. There isn't any other girl who lives near enough to play with, and I've no big sisters myself." "Will you swear to me, my friends, forever and ever?" demanded Anne eagerly.
Diana looked shocked.
"Why, it's dreadfully wicked to swear," she said rebukingly. "Oh, no, not that kind of swearing. There are two kinds, you know." "I never heard of any but one kind." "There really is another. Oh, it isn't wicked at all. It just means vowing and promising solemnly." "Well, I don't mind doing that. How do you do it?" "We must join our hands. So," said Anne gravely, "it ought to be over running water. Well, just imagine this path is running water. I'll speak the oath first. I solemnly swear to be faithful to my bosom friend, Diana Barry, as long as the sun and moon shall endure. Now you say it and put my name in."
Diana repeated the oath with a laugh fore and aft. Then she said, "You're a very queer girl, Anne. I believe you were... But I've heard before that you were queer. But I believe I'm going to like you real well." Nebby's cozy on her bed. Awesome. And quote Patient Parson quote is very happy about the quote Patient Parson quote name. Got it. Let's see if we can get our shout out for Nebby here. Helps if I spell it correctly. If there's not already familiar with Nebby or Nebula Nia, she is a pixel artist, very lovely person with a fantastic voice. I've gotten to drop in on a few of her streams. Well worth spending a bit of time with. Usually a little bit quieter and lower energy than some of the streamers that I hang with, but by no means less enjoyable. So if you get a chance, definitely check out Nebby's stream, spend some time with her. She's a good girl. Alright, let's see where I left off here. When Marilla and Anne went home, Diana went with them as far as the log bridge. The two little girls walked with their arms about each other. At the brook, they parted with many promises to spend the next afternoon together. "Well, did you find Diana a kindred spirit?" asked Maria as they went up through the garden of Green Gables. "Oh, yes," sighed Anne, blissfully unconscious of any sarcasm on Maria's part. "Oh, Maria, I'm the happiest girl on Prince Edward Island at this moment. I assure you I'll say my prayers in a right good will tonight. Diana and I are both going to build a playhouse in Mr. William Bell's birch grove tomorrow. Can I have those broken pieces of china that are out in the woodshed? Diana's birthday is in February and mine is in March. Don't you think that is a very strange coincidence? Diana is going to lend me a book to read. She says it's perfectly splendid and tremendously exciting. She's going to show me a place back in the woods where the rice lilies grow. Don't you think Diana has got very soulful eyes? Oh, if only I had soulful eyes. Diana is going to teach me to sing a song called Nellie in the Hazel Dell. She's going to give me a picture to put in my room. It's a perfectly beautiful picture, she says. A lovely lady in a pale blue silk dress. A sewing machine agent gave it to her. Oh, if only I had something to give to Diana. I'm an inch taller than Diana, but she is ever so much fatter. She says she'd like to be thin because it's so much more graceful, but I'm afraid she only said it to soothe my feelings. We're going to the shore some day to gather shells. We have agreed to call the spring down by the log bridge the Dryad's Bubble. Isn't that a perfectly elegant name? I read a story once about a spring called that. The Dryad is a sort of grown-up fairy, I think.
Well, all I hope is you won't talk Diana to death. But remember, this is in all your planning, Anne. You're not going to play all the time, nor most of it. You'll have your work to do, and it'll have to be done first.
No worries, love.
Welcome back. Anne's cup of happiness was full, and Matthew caused it to overflow. He had just got home from a trip to the store at Carmody, and he sheepishly produced a small parcel from his pocket and handed it to Anne, with a deprecatory look at Marilla.
I heard you say you liked chocolate, sweeties, so I got you some.
Humph, sniffled Marilla. It'll ruin her teeth and stomach. There, child, don't look so dismal. You can eat those, since Matthew is gone and got them. He'd better have brought you peppermints. They're wholesomer. Don't sicken yourself eating them all at once now.
Oh, no, indeed I won't, said Anne eagerly. I'll just eat one tonight, Maria, and I can give Diane half of them, can't I? The other half will taste twice as sweet to me if I give some to her. It's delightful to think I'll have something to give her.
I will say it for the child, said Maria when Anne had gone to her gable. She isn't stingy, I'm glad. For all her faults, I detest stinginess in a child. Dear me, it's only 3 weeks since she came, and it seems as if she's been here always. I can't imagine the place without her. Now, don't be looking I told you so, Matthew. That's bad enough in a woman, but it isn't to be endured in a man. I'm perfectly willing to own up that I'm glad I consented to keep the child and that I'm getting fond of her. But don't you rub it in, Matthew Cuthbert.
When you click with someone, it's kind of like that. Absolutely, Necromancer. And Treeblood has redeemed a chubby bunny. Oh no. And here I am with these jumbo marshmallows that are the size of my fist. I am really going to regret this. Oh, Treeblood, why would you tee-hee after this? Really? This is how you treat me? Fine. Alright, here is one. Oh. Mm. Chubby bunny. Because I'm silly. How do you figure I'm silly, Tree? Alright, there is one marshmallow. For a reminder, I have to put as many of these marshmallows into my mouth as I can manage. I can chew, but I cannot swallow. And after each, I have to try and say the phrase, chubby bunny. If I fail, that's the end, and we stop the count there. My record with these is, I believe, either 2 or 3, because these are massive. I created a redeem for stuffing giant marshmallows into my face. It doesn't get much sillier. Treeblood, I am sure there are many things which are sillier, and I shall try to think of them when I'm not cramming marshmallows into my mouth. Alright, 2. Chubby bunny. Hello, Carl. Okay. Can I get a third in? I don't know. I don't think I want to try. I don't want to do this crap. We're done at 2. Sorry. Brian, thank you for shouting out my YouTube channel.
This is gonna take me just a moment, folks. I am very sorry about this. Mm, 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 mm. Also, hello, Brian, and welcome in. It's okay. There's nothing. It's all right. I think I've only choked once doing this. Mm. I'm not in any particular danger. It just takes a minute because there's a lot of marshmallow in my cheeks right now. Mm. Mm. But it's getting down slowly, and that's really what we care for. It's funnier to do the Twitch one in here, though. Well, Brian, it's more productive to do the YouTube in here. And if you want to shout out my Twitch on my YouTube, I don't mind that either. I got this. I got this. Okay. Okay, I've got most of it down. Mega Mellows, oh no. Oh no. I just finished getting the last of the marshmallow down. Tyrone B Films, thank you for the second chubby bunny in a row. You did it on purpose. No. Oh, give me just a moment to get some water down. This is, oh my goodness. Calculated. I see. Well, it's good to know that you're enjoying at least. But yes, these are the mega marshmallows that are about the size of my fist, Brian. Getting streamer to put you in timeout speedrun. Oh, don't be silly. I don't time out people for doing things that I've agreed to do. That would be capricious at best. But I am going to have to try and cram more marshmallows into my mouth now, and that has me questioning some of my own decisions. You're making sure I eat dinner tonight, Necromancer! How dare you call me out like that? You're not wrong, but how dare you call me out like that? Oh, marshmallows count as dinner. Oh dear. Alright. One. Alright. One chubby bunny. And now we go for number 2. Two chubby bunny. And thank you for the stretchies. But I'm gonna call this one here. Oh. Oh my goodness. Alright. Oh. I chubby bunnied so hard I lost my tracking. Oh no. dear. Alright, so Tyrone says Anne of Green Gables has both the best and worst book to film adaptations. That's good to know. Oh dear. And yes, I did my stretch with the chubby bunny, but that didn't work very well, and I don't like it. If I die from too many marshmallows, I don't know what I would do with my books. I suppose it's not really up to me at that point now, is it? Brian wants the Olympian books. I don't have that many books of Greek mythology on hand, though. Oh my goodness. Oh, I got this. Tree, thank you for the hydrate. Yes, Tyrone, go ahead and DM me the cursed thing. That's fine. Hydration complete, but I'm still trying to get all of these stupid marshmallows down. Oh. I don't typically check my DMs until after stream, so they'll still be there later. Oh my goodness. I think I'm gonna have to change the cooldown of the chubby bunny. Tree Blood, thank you for the hydrate. Thank you for the second hydrate? Oh no. Okay, there's 3 hydrations complete. Thank you for the triple shot there, Tree. Oh dear. I was reading a book at one point. Oh, and a 4th hydrate. And a 5th hydrate. And a 6th hydrate. And Brian redeeming squats. Okay. Let's do this. We're rolling with it here. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Gotta work off the 2 million calories in the jumbo marshmallows. You're not wrong, Brian. You are not wrong. Oh! Oh my goodness. Oh dear. Oh dear. So, as it turns out, if you shove about... I have no idea how much marshmallow that was, but 4 fists worth of marshmallow into your belly, your empty belly, and then shake it up with 20 squats, it has an effect. I now know this from experience. Thank you for that. Alright. And a minute of plank. Oh boy. Oh no. Well, my tracking crashed. Oh, bother. Alright, well, I'll take care of that in just a moment here. After I do the minute of plank. You're a gremlin and this is your idea of fun? I see, Brian. Yep, just the tracking.
Sugar in an empty belly is not fun. This is true. It couldn't handle the chaos. Oh, it handled it quite well. It just handled a lot of things. Alright. And a minute of plank. Here we go. Alright, there's the minute. Now imagine you redeem another chubby bunny, I would refund you. Because that would actively be too much. Wait at least an hour, it'll have a better effect. Brian! Why? Why would you do this? Oh. Oh dear. Okay. Alright, just... Oh heck. I'm very much looking forward to getting back into my chair. But alright, we'll try and get my tracking restarted here. Hopefully, it won't take more than a moment. If you're a gremlin, it's what you do. Well, I'm perfectly happy to have a gremlin here, Brian. And I think there are several gremlins involved in this particular series of choices. But that aside, you're not wrong by any means. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Alright, let's there we go. All's mended. Okay. Right. Wardo's restarting nicely. It was. Alright. Excuse me. Oh dear. Alright. Set to Wardo. Alright. And I am back. Thank you all so much for your patience. Nebby, you're going to sleep now? Alright. Have a wonderful sleep. Thank you very much for joining us. It's really good to see you. And yeah, I hope you have a good nap while we continue with this. Am I okay? Yes. Between the squats, the minute of planking, which is a rather intensive physical activity, and the pair of chubby bunnies in a row, I am a little bit shaken, but I am less broken than bent, and I can learn to stream again. Oh, if you can't have chaos, what can you have, Brian? Cake. You can have cake. Tree blood, dying of warm? I understand. Oh, you're very shook? Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, I hope you find some cool somewhere in all of this tree. I'll do my best to be a cool person for you, and we'll go from there. Brian, glad you've got the bouncies for your cake. No, I am shook? Oh, yes, that's fair. I was quite shaken for a little bit there. And with that, let's roll on into Chapter 13, The Delights of Anticipation. I need to take a break from Redeems and try and relax for a bit, Redeem. That's called reading the story, Necromancer. Oh, you don't like cake? Alright, Brian, I'm sorry. Tree's gonna crawl into bed. Wonderful. I hope you have a good time in bed here, Tree. Keep watching if you can, but either way, thank you so much for joining me. It always means a lot to me to see you here. Thank you for dropping by.
It's time Anne was in to do her sewing, said Maria, glancing at the clock and then out into the yellow August afternoon where everything drowsed in the heat. She stayed playing with Diana more than half an hour more than I gave her leave to, and now she's perched out there on the woodpile talking to Matthew, 19 to the dozen, when she knows perfectly well she ought to be at her work. And of course he's listening to her like a perfect ninny. I never saw such an infatuated man. The more she talks and the odder the things she says, the more he's delighted, evidently. Anne Shirley, you come in here right this minute, do you hear me?
Oh dear. I'm okay, I got this. A series of staccato taps on the west window brought Anne flying in from the yard, eyes shining, cheeks faintly flushed with pink, unbraided hair streaming behind her in a torrent of brightness.
"Oh, Maria," she exclaimed breathlessly. "There's going to be a Sunday school picnic next week in Mr. Harmon Andrews's field, right near the Lake of Shining Waters, and Mrs. Superintendent Bell and Mrs. Rachel Lynde are going to make ice cream. Think of it, Maria, ice cream! And oh, Maria, can I go to it?"
Just look at the clock, if you please. And what time did I tell you to come in?
2 o'clock. But isn't it splendid about the picnic, Maria? Please, can I go? Oh, I've never been to a picnic. I've dreamed of picnics, but I've never...
Yes, I told you to come in at 2 o'clock. And it's 2:45. I'd like to know why you didn't obey me, Anne.
Why, I meant to, Maria, as much as could be, but you have no idea how fascinating Idlewild is. And then, of course, I had to tell Matthew about the picnic. Matthew is such a sympathetic listener. Please, can I go?
You'll have to learn to resist the fascination of idle whatever you call it. When I tell you to come in at a certain time, I mean that time and not half an hour later. And you needn't stop on discourse with sympathetic listeners on your way either. As for the picnic, of course you can go. You're a Sunday school scholar, and it's not likely I'd refuse to let you go when all the other little girls are going.
But Diana says everybody must take a basket of things to eat. I can't cook, as you know, Maria, and I don't mind going to a picnic without puffed sleeves so much, but I'd feel terribly humiliated if I had to go without a basket. It's been preying on my mind ever since Diana told me.
Well, it needn't prey any longer. I'll make you a basket.
Oh, you're dear good Maria. Oh, you are so kind to me. Oh, I'm so much obliged to you.
Oh, getting through with her O's, Anne cast herself into Maria's arms and rapturously kissed her sallow cheek. It was the first time in her whole life that childish lips had involuntarily touched Maria's face. I don't know why it was spelled as Manila here. Hello, Memortum. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Brian, would you mind shouting out Memortum 69 for us here, please? For those not already familiar with Miss Morton here, she is a 18-plus streamer who I have most recently seen doing some Gundam Warhammer 40k painting. But a very passionate and very fun person. If you get a chance and are of the appropriate age category, please do be sure to check out this individual. Again, I'm too sweet? Well, thank you for noticing. But yes, Brian, if you wouldn't mind giving the shout out here so that I don't have to do that myself, I would greatly appreciate it, please and thank you. Cupcakes, you just lick the icing off before you eat. If there's too much, it depends on the flavor. I see. Still having your cake rather than your chaos. You can't. Okay. Thank you for letting me know, Brian. I will get May shouted out here. But yes, welcome in. Again, that sudden sensation of startling sweetness thrilled Maria. She was secretly vastly pleased with Anne's impulsive caress, which was probably the reason why she said brusquely, "There, there, never mind your kissing nonsense. I'd sooner see you doing strictly as you're told. As for cooking, I mean to give you lessons in that some of these days. But you're so feather-brained, Anne, I've been waiting to see if you'd sober down a little and learn to be steady before I begin. You've got to keep your wits about you in cooking and not stop in the middle of things to let your own thoughts rove all over creation. Now, get out your patchwork and have your square done before tea time." "Can't do your mod duties, that's no worries, Brian. You are welcome here whether you are moderating things or not. I just like to know so that I don't try to shout someone out when you're already working on it. As we both know, that seems to frustrate you more than I would want to. Keep doing a good job, dearie, and please enjoy the show." "I do not like patchwork," said Anne dolefully, hunting out her work basket and sitting down before a heap of red and white diamonds with a sigh. "I think there's some kinds of sewing that would be nice, but there's no scope for imagination in patchwork. It's just one little seam after another, and you never seem to be getting anywhere. But of course I'd rather be Anne of Green Gables sewing patchwork than Anne of any other place with nothing to do but play. Oh, if only time went as quick sewing patches as it does when I'm playing with Diana, though. Oh, we have such elegant times, Maria. I have to furnish most of the imagination, but I'm well able to do that. Diana's simply perfect in every other way. You know that little piece of land across the brook that runs up between our farm and Mr. Barry's? It belongs to Mr. William Bell, and right in the corner there's the little ring of white birch trees. The most romantic spot, Maria. Diana and I have our playhouse there. We call it Idlewild. Isn't that a poetic name? I assure you it took me some time to think it out. I stayed awake nearly a whole night before I invented it. Then I was just dropping off to sleep. It came like an inspiration. Diana was enraptured when she heard it. We have got our house fixed up elegantly. You must come see it, Maria, won't you? We have great big stones and covered with moss, 4 seats and boards from tree to tree for shelves. And we have all our dishes on them. Of course, they're all broken, but it's the easiest thing in the world to imagine that they are whole. Bots are Brian's, but no touching food. All right. There's a piece of a plate with a spray of red and yellow ivy on it that's especially beautiful. We keep it in the parlor, and we have the fairy glass there, too. The fairy glass is as lovely as a dream. Diana found it out in the woods behind the chicken house. It's all full of rainbows, just little young rainbows that haven't grown big yet. And Diana's mother told her it was broken off a hanging lamp they once had, but it's nicer to imagine the fairies lost it one night when they had a ball, so we call it the fairy glass. Matthew is going to make us a table. Oh, we have named our little round pool over in Mr. Barry's field Willowmere. I got that name out of a book Diana lent me. That was a thrilling book, Maria. The heroine had 5 lovers. I'd be satisfied with one, wouldn't you? She was very handsome, and she went through great tribulations. She could faint as easy as anything. I'd love to be able to faint, wouldn't you, Maria? It's so romantic, but I'm really very healthy for all I'm so thin. I believe I'm getting fatter, though. Don't you think I am? Look at my elbows every morning when I get up to see if I have any dimples. Diana is having a new dress made with elbow sleeves. She's going to wear it in public to the picnic. Oh, I do hope it will be fine next Wednesday. I don't feel that if I could endure the disappointment if anything happened to prevent me from getting to the picnic. I suppose I'd live through it, but I'm certain it would be a lifelong sorrow. It wouldn't matter if I got to 100 picnics in after years. They wouldn't make up for missing this one. They're going to have boats on the Lake of Shining Waters, and ice cream. As I told you, I've never tasted ice cream. Diana tried to explain what it was like, but I guess ice cream is one of those things that are beyond imagination. Anne, you have talked even on for 10 minutes by the clock. Now, just for curiosity's sake, see if you can hold your tongue for the same length of time. Good night, patient parson, quote. Alright, quote patient parson, you have a wonderful night. May the friendship of Diana and Anne go on forevermore? I hope so too. Anne held her tongue as desired, but for the rest of the week she talked picnic and throughout picnic, and thought picnic and dreamed picnic. On Saturday it rained, and she worked herself up into such a frantic state lest it should keep on raining until and over Wednesday that Maria made her sew an extra patchwork square by way of steadying her nerves. On Sunday, Anne confided to Maria on the way home from church that she grew actually cold all over with excitement when the minister announced the picnic from the pulpit.
Such a thrill as went up and down my back, Maria. I don't think I'd ever really believed until then that there was honestly going to be a picnic. I couldn't help fearing I'd only imagined it, but when a minister says a thing in the pulpit, you just have to believe it.
You set your heart too much on things, Anne, said Maria with a sigh. I'm afraid there will be a great many disappointments in store for you throughout life.
Oh, Maria, looking forward to things is half the pleasure of them. You mayn't get the things themselves, but nothing can prevent you from having the fun of looking forward to them. Mrs. Lynde says, "Blessed are they who expect nothing, for they shall not be disappointed." But I think it would be worse to expect nothing than to be disappointed.
Maria wore her amethyst brooch to church that day as usual. Maria always wore her amethyst brooch to church. She would have thought it rather sacrilegious to leave it off, as bad as forgetting her Bible or collection dime. That amethyst brooch was Maria's most treasured possession. A seafaring uncle had given it to her mother, who in turn had bequeathed it to Maria. It was an old-fashioned oval containing a braid of her mother's hair, surrounded by a border of very fine amethysts. Maria knew too little about precious stones to realize how fine the amethysts actually were, but she thought them very beautiful and was always pleasantly conscious of their violet shimmer in her throat, above her good brown satin dress, even though she could not see it. Anne had been smitten with delighted admiration when she first saw that brooch.
Oh, Maria, it's a perfectly elegant brooch. I don't know how you can pay attention to the sermon and the prayers when you have it on. I couldn't, I know. I think amethysts are just sweet. They're what I used to think diamonds were like. Long ago, before I had ever seen a diamond, I read about them and I tried to imagine what they would be like. I thought they would be lovely, glimmering purple stones. When I saw a real diamond in a lady's ring one day, I was so disappointed I cried. Of course, it was very lovely, but it wasn't my idea of a diamond. Will you let me hold the brooch for 1 minute, Maria? Do you think amethysts can be the souls of good violets? Okay, I think with that, we are about to a place where we can draw things to a close. Let's go ahead and search for a nice raid target here. Of course, there are always recommendations that Twitch has, but I don't know that I'm quite satisfied with those for tonight. Let's see about people who aren't already used to interacting with, or have at least at some point done so. I do see a few people. And I scroll along here, searching for somebody. Oh shoot, I think the person I was going to raid just vanished right as I was about to raid into them. Where's the pity? Oh, Necromancer, thank you for the parting greeting. I appreciate it. It's alright, using the word lovely twice is not a bad thing. Carl's off to watch the Dollar Trilogy movies. I see. Well, have a wonderful time with that. I think for tonight, we are going to raid out to Reaper Queen. Someone who I have not gotten to spend a lot of time with in a pretty solid amount of time, but who has been a part of our community for quite a while. So thank you all very much for joining me here today. Really appreciate it. And with that,
let's go ahead and do our raid out song. I'm glad you've joined our stream today. Stream here ends, the stream here. But it's time to go our separate ways. Yes, it's time to end the stream here. Stream here and the stream here. Oh, stream here and the stream here. For the software's scuffed and the bit rate's low. And it's time to end the stream here. Until next time, I'll be waiting.